A long time ago in a small town, there was a philosophy teacher who was well known for his fun and interesting way of teaching. One day, he decided to visit the local primary school to teach the students something important. When he arrived on the day of his visit, the teacher walked into a classroom carrying a big, empty glass jar. His eyes sparkled with a playful secret that caught the attention of the students right away. They knew that today was going to be different from any other school day. The teacher put the jar on the table and pulled out a pile of big rocks from under the table. Each rock was about the size of a fist. One by one, he carefully put these rocks into the jar until no more could fit. Then he turned to the class and asked, "Is this jar full?" The students, seeing that no more rocks could be added, nodded and said, "Yes." To their surprise, the teacher then pulled out a bag of small stones. He started pouring them into the jar, shaking it a little. He kept pouring the small stones into the jar until he couldn't fit any more in. Then he turned to the class and asked, "Is the jar full now?" The students thought for a moment and then said, "No, it's not full." The teacher smiled and said, "You're right, it's not full." He then pulled out a bag of sand and started pouring it into the jar. As he poured the sand in, the teacher explained that just like the jar, our lives can be filled with many different things. We can have big rocks in our lives like our goals and dreams, we can have small stones like our daily tasks, and we can have sand like our worries and stress. He explained that the important thing is not how much we have in our lives, but how we make room for what's truly important. The students listened carefully and began to understand the teacher's message. The smaller pebbles rolled into the open spaces between the larger stones. He asked again, "Is this jar full now?" Some students were starting to catch on and hesitated, but many still replied, "Yes, it's full now." The professor then got a bag of sand and began pouring it into the jar. The tiny grains filled all the remaining spaces between the stones and pebbles. "Is the jar full now?" he asked for the third time. This time, the students responded with a mix of curiosity and understanding, saying, "Probably not." The professor then pulled out a jug of water and poured it into the jar, making the sand soak up the water. Only then did he agree that the jar was indeed full. He looked at his students and explained, "I want you to understand that this jar represents your life. The big stones are the important things, like your family, your health, and your friends. These are things that, even if everything else was gone and only these were left, your life would still be full. The pebbles are the other things that matter, like your job, your house, and your car. They're not as important as the big stones, but they still play a big role in our lives." Here is the rewritten text: "The small stuff in life represents the everyday, the trivial things." He went on, "If you put the small things or the everyday tasks into your life first, there's no room for the things that truly matter most. The same is true for life. If you spend all your time and energy on the small things and the daily tasks, you never have room for the things that make you happy. The important things are those things critical to your true happiness. They represent spending time with your loved ones, taking care of your health, and working towards your goals and passions. If you don't make these things a priority, you may find at the end that you've left out the most important parts of your life." He concluded powerfully, "Make sure you take care of the important things first. They are your foundation, your main support. They are your family, your health, your dreams. Don't let the small things, the routine, the everyday tasks, shake your focus away from them." Word count, 846. At the end of your journey, it's the things that make a big difference in your life that will matter the most. Let your life be about the things that make you happy, that make you feel good inside, and that are truly important. The rest is just little things that don't count as much. As the professor finished talking, a student raised her hand and asked a thoughtful question. "But professor, what about the water?" she asked. "Where does that fit into our lives?" The professor smiled at her and said, The water. The water reminds us that no matter how full our lives may seem, there's always time for a cup of coffee or tea with a friend. No matter how busy we are, there's always space for small moments of joy, relaxation, and connection with others. We often get caught up in trying to fit everything into our busy days. We get so busy with small tasks that we forget what really matters. Our lives are like a jar, and it's not infinite. it has limited space. If we fill it first with small things like pebbles and sand, we won't have any room for the important things. The professor explained this with a friendly smile. He reminded us that it's not about having a busy life that's full all the time, but about living a life that's full of things that truly matter to us. It's about making the most of our time, not just passing the days. We need to balance the important things, the things that bring us joy, with the smaller things in our lives. This means finding a good balance between work, family, and hobbies. This balance is what makes life truly fulfilling. The students left the classroom that day with a new understanding of how to prioritize their lives. They realized that family, health, and their passions are what truly matter most.